Hello and welcome. So today we are going to be discussing 9 fragrances. Now the thing about these 9 is that although you know that I'm always picking up fragrances so that I can review them for you and I'm always testing fragrances, I do have a group of fragrances that of course are my favorites within my collection. Like I may love most of the fragrances, if not all of the fragrances that I have permanent in my collection. But there has to be a group that every time I think about getting dressed or every time I know it's time to put on a new fragrance, I immediately want to wear this specific fragrance. But of course, I'm testing or I have other things to do and I just can't always pull them. But for the most part, if I have a day off or if I'm just spending some time where I know that it's going to be about the fragrance that I want to wear for the day, these are the 9 fragrances that inevitably I always want to pull. Now, I had shared with you a couple weeks ago, I think I called the video like the 5 or 6 fragrances that I wanted to gatekeep, the ones that I had to admit that I had been gatekeeping. Well, of course, those fragrances are still favorites, but these that I'm sharing with you today are a combination truly of Middle Eastern fragrances, designer, and Western niche. So this would be the group of fragrances that I cannot stop wearing, whether I'm layering, whether I just pull them on my day off. Sometimes I layer one with the other, but I absolutely love these fragrances and they truly are my most used perfumes. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I do have 9 fragrances to share, but I also have a bonus one because I just received a fragrance, I think maybe like a week and a half ago. And I cannot stop thinking about this fragrance. I completed most of the testing in preparation for a review that I'm bringing to you soon. But even after that testing, I had to continuously tell myself, nope, you cannot wear that today. We have another one that you have to test. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump right in. But before we do so, if this is your first time here, I'm Rahi, and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. All right, so before we jump into the 9 fragrances that I have truly been using the most, I would say for maybe like the last 2 to 3 months, I continuously pull these fragrances like I just can't help it. But before we jump into those, I want to share with you, and this is not going to be the official review, but I just want to share with you a fragrance that I just received in PR, maybe about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago at the most. And I tell you, it has been an immediate love. It's not like I'm obsessed with it, but it's a fragrance that for some reason, there is just something that is pulling me about this fragrance. And this is the latest launch from Day 3 Fragrances, and it is Desert Rain. I don't know what is in here, but this is such a beautiful, beautiful scent. I have to tell you, I'm a little bit like obsessed with the fragrance house itself because I think this is like my 4th bottle and I can't mention one that I truly don't absolutely love. And this one is on its way to being a very deep love. I am going to have a detailed review, but I just want to share with you a little bit of information on this one. So this is like a tea note fragrance, but I have to tell you that I have quite the number of tea fragrances in my collection because I do love them, but there is just something very different about this one. Let me share with you the notes because this is just very interesting. So the notes of this one are Desert Rain Accord, bergamot, nutmeg, green tea, leather, sandalwood, woodsy notes, cactus blossom. I don't think I have another fragrance in my collection that has the note of cactus blossom, but obviously, that must be a note that I really enjoy because the opening of this fragrance is just glorious. It opens like fresh, spicy with a little bit of citrusiness to it, but it's really just fresh, spicy. I really haven't had a chance to really determine or try and figure out what are the spicy notes that I'm picking up, but I know it's a fresh, spicy opening. There is like a floral quality to the fragrance. The tea you pick it up in the opening like very, very light, but then towards like midway in the olfactory journey, the tea is quite present. And from there on, the tea is present all throughout the wear of the fragrance. But when I tell you, it's just that the scent of this one is just so, so glorious. I can't even. Have you guys tried this one? Because I know we have quite the number of fam members that are very much day 3 fragrances like fans. And I just want to know, have any of you tried Desert Rain? Because this is just incredible. I should have a detailed review for you very soon, but I just wanted to share that this one is going to end up on the list of most used really, really soon. Now, as I share with you these fragrances, I want you to keep in mind that I have quite a large collection of Middle Eastern, designer, and Western niche. Like this that you see in the background is just like a partial view of my collection, because as you can see, you really can't see much of my designer fragrances and you really can't see much of the Middle Eastern ones. But I am telling you, because it is so hard for me to really have a dent in a bottle. Like, I don't know if you understand that, but first of all, most of the fragrances that I have, because they're in my collection, it's because they also perform rather well. They don't necessarily have to be beast mode, but they have to perform rather well. So for me to have a dent in a bottle, that's like a miracle, like a significant dent, like a dent that you can see, even if it's 1/4 of an inch. That's really hard because I have quite the number of fragrances and I'm always testing anyway. So just keep that in mind as I share these with you. But the first one that I want to talk to you about, if you've been with me for a while, this is not going to be a surprise, because when it comes to the House of Beau, I'm always talking about La Mar. Now, look at this beautiful, beautiful bottle. I mean, one of the things that I just love about the House of Beau is their aesthetic. It is just so, so beautiful. So this fragrance, this is like summer in a bottle. So La Mar is like the ocean, right, in Spanish. And this is the fragrance that puts me right there at the beach, like right there in front of the ocean. I get the watery notes, I get some ginger, I get a fresh, spicy opening immediately. I get the pink pepper. There's some white florals in this fragrance. It is just incredible. And for those of you, by the way, during this past Saturday's Chatty Scent Corner that told me that you don't like gardenia because it smells like a funeral or like, you know, like very dated or something like that. Well, we have gardenia in this fragrance, and I'm going to tell you, there is nothing dated about this gem. This is just incredible. And I've had this fragrance for quite a while. It's not new to me during 2025 at all, but this is one that I have been using so much. I just cannot stop using it. I mean, I'm sure you can see the dent here, and look at that beautiful bottle. I just can't get over all of the bottles from the House of Beau. Just make you want to pick up every fragrance just for the bottle, but my goodness, the juice. Anyway, let us know if you've tried La Mar and your thoughts. The next fragrance that I just cannot stop using, and oh, it is definitely one of my most used fragrances from the moment that I picked it up. And this is a 2025 release, but this is just incredible. This is from Maison Mataha, and this is Printemps Blanc. And as you can see, I have been very busy using this fragrance. This is just incredible. So this is a fragrance that has a very present, at least to my nose, orange blossom. It is all about the white florals. I think that's why they call it Blanc, you know, like white, because this fragrance is truly all about the white florals. And at that, you know, it opens with quite a large bouquet of white florals where I pick up different florals. But truly the star, the lead of the white florals, at least to my nose, as I said before, is the orange blossom. Now, in addition to the orange blossom, the opening is quite citrusy and fresh because, if I recall correctly, there's a note of grapefruit. And the grapefruit is very clear to me, but I also think there's other notes that have not been disclosed, but we'll just leave it at that. The fragrance has a ton of vanilla, and it has a woodiness, you know, in the backdrop of those florals that give the fragrance an additional level of character and oomph. And the dry down is like a little bit creamy. And I think that's courtesy of like sandalwood. But when I tell you, this is just an exquisitely beautiful fragrance. By the way, I've reviewed all of the fragrances that I'm going to share with you today have already been reviewed here on the channel. So I'm not going to go into full on detail, but I just wanted to share with you my most used today. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is from Narcotica. And this is not a new 2025 release, but it is a fragrance that I just cannot help pull whenever we're in this season. And this year has been no exception. And this one is Narco Oasis. Now, Narco Oasis is a fragrance that gives me complete gourmand vibes, but it's not going to make you smell like food, but there is like an inherent yumminess to this fragrance that I can't even explain. It is very, very fruity. It is sweet. It has a very dominant note of passion fruit. There's some black currants, some pear, some blood orange. There's just a collection of fruity notes. But what I really love about this fragrance is that if you've been with me for a while, you know that I really don't like fruit bomb fragrances, which is why Herba Pura and I really don't get along very well, because it is just too much. But here, even though there is a collection of fruity notes, it's been done in a very balanced and very nice way. There's also some florals, and to me, the lead in the florals here is definitely the iris, which gives the fragrance at the dry down a certain degree of powderiness. Not very powdery, but definitely a powdery dry down. But at that, even though you have all those fruits and the florals and all of that going on, the dry down, to me, is not cloying in any kind of way, and it's not overwhelming or obnoxious with all those fruity notes, etc. It is just a beautiful, beautiful scent that is going to carry you beautifully through these very, very hot summer days. But I tell you, this is one of my most used fragrances. It just seems like as soon as I know that these very hot summer days are approaching, this is one that I start to immediately think about and want to pull frequently, if not every day. Now, the next fragrance that I'm going to share with you is a Middle Eastern fragrance, and it will not come as a surprise to you because you know that I've been obsessed with it. But the funny thing about this fragrance is that we could kind of say that this is truly not like a full-on summer fragrance. To me, this is an all-year fragrance, and I have been using it during the summer because I truly am obsessed with the scent of this fragrance. And I am speaking about Lattafa's Dream of Haze. And I have shared this bottle with you many, many times because it is absolutely like a piece of art, isn't it? It is absolutely beautiful, but it is nothing compared to the addictive juice that you find in this bottle. It is just amazing to me. So here you have a very dominant like apple shisha accord. You have some mint, which brings a certain degree of freshness. This is not a freshie, okay? This is not a freshie in any kind of way. Most would say that this is not even really like a summer fragrance because it's not. It's not like a per se summer fragrance. To me, again, it's an all year fragrance. I've reviewed it on the channel. I have featured it several times. But when it came to pulling the fragrances that I've been using the most, Dream of Haze is at the top of the list, right along with another Middle Eastern fragrance that I will be sharing with you in a little bit. But I just had to include Dream of Haze in the lineup. Here, you're also going to find some patchouli, some tonka. It is a very ambery fragrance. There is an inherent freshness, even though it is not a freshie, there's an inherent, not freshness, I should call it like airiness. And I think it's coming from the note of mint, but most specifically, I think it's coming from the note of lavender. I don't know what they put in here besides these notes that they're not disclosing, but what I can tell you is that I am completely addicted to this fragrance. It is just absolutely exquisitely done. One of my favorite Lattafas, period. And you guys know that through time I've had other Lattafa fragrances that I really get hooked on, like Mashrabia for a while. That's all I could talk about. And then before that, I think it was Sarah. Do you remember? So, but now we're at Dream of Haze, and she is just absolutely obsessed with Dream of Haze. Let us know if you've tried it, because I know many fam members have picked it up. Let us know your thoughts. So, of course, being that we're in the summer season, you know that if I'm sharing like my most used fragrances, you know that there's bound to be a couple of musk-based fragrances But the two that I have for you today, one is not new, but it's not that old, but it's not new. And the other one was just launched recently. And when I tell you the obsession is real, I have been obsessed with that fragrance since the first moment I sniffed it. But let's go ahead and start with the one that is not a 2025 release. And I don't think this will come as a surprise either, because this is an exceptional musk-based fragrance. And believe me, there were so many contenders for this position. But I have to say that K Musk K is the musk to stop all tracks. This is an incredible musk fragrance. Whew. And at that, it is so addictive. I can't even explain to you. So, you know how we talk about musk fragrances that give you like that skin type of scent? Well, this is one of those fragrances, but I am telling you, and of course I'm wiping my little fingers off of it, but I am telling you that there is just something about this musk, right? Because I have Byredo fragrances and I love all of my Byredo fragrances, and they were contenders for this position here. But once I think about a musk-based fragrance for this very hot weather, Musk K is at the top of the list, and now it's about to be debunked by the second one that I'll be sharing with you today later. So this is a fragrance that has a musk level of, I would say, to the tune of 4 to 5, with 5 being the most and 1 the least. So you have to really enjoy a musk-based fragrance in order to appreciate the beauty of this scent. There's a good bit of iris. There's a tad of powderiness at the dry down of this fragrance, but I don't know how they did it, but the powderiness is like a little bit fresh. I can't even explain it, because when I wear this fragrance, I mean, and I hope that you can see the dent. I don't know if the camera will be able to capture it, but there's a serious dent in this fragrance because I just spray it and spray it. I love to fall asleep with it. You know, in those very warm summer nights, I love to fall asleep with it. I love to wear it during the day, love to wear it at night. It is just a joy to have this fragrance in your collection. Let us know if you too are a tremendous fan of K Musk K. Okay, so this next fragrance is very new. It is a 2025 release, and I reviewed it for you not too long ago, but I'm going to tell you, this is one of those fragrances that requires you to not just try it on skin, but really use it several times for you to like figure it out. So this is one of those fragrances that is quite complex, with a very complex olfactory journey. There's a ton of notes, therefore there's a ton of accords. You know, sometimes you'll wear it like at the beginning, when you start to wear it, you'll be like, okay, what is this? What is going on here? But I'm going to tell you that the star of this fragrance is the guava for sure. And I'm speaking about the latest from Roja, and this is Isola Verde. Okay, so this is a fragrance, and I mean, look at this cap. Can you see this beauty? It is just beautiful. And I find it interesting that the cap has that like green hue, and it is reminiscent of a very beautiful guava, like a fresh guava. And I have to tell you, this guava scent is not like any other guava scent that I have in my collection. And you guys know that I love a guava scent. When you say guava, I typically run. At least I have to try the fragrance. This was sent to me, and I can't thank them enough for sending it to me, because this is incredible. This is a fragrance that has such a collection of notes. There's fruity notes, there's some melon, some guava, there's some spicy notes, there's some cardamom, there's some woody notes, there are some florals with a very present osmanthus. So you have to kind of like be into that note a little bit, because in parts of the olfactory journey, you're going to pick up on it clearly. There's some other white florals here, and Lily of the Valley is another one that really sticks out to me. It's really about, at least to my nose and on my skin, it's really about the Lily of the Valley and the osmanthus playing around with the tobacco, with the rum, because there is tobacco and rum here. To me, curiously enough, at the dry down, this is not really a boozy fragrance. You may pick up on a faint booziness to it, but this is really not a boozy fragrance to me. I pick up on the tobacco, but there is like no smokiness to go with that. It's a very like non-dry tobacco. It's not a sweet tobacco either. So it is a note that's going to be very present and not like diluted or covered up by another accord. It is just a very complex journey, but if you use this fragrance several times and you allow yourself to experience the journey of the fragrance, and you are into these notes to a certain extent and into those accords, you are going to fall madly in love, and then you won't be able to stop using it. But you know, I find that Roja fragrances are, at least for me, they are very much like that. You may do a first sniff and a first spray and be like, okay, I really like it, but I'm not sure if I'm loving it. This fragrance right now, I am telling you, it is one of my most used, and it is one of the newest one, and it has a tiny dent already. And I try to not spray it too much because there's no need to super spray this fragrance, but also because this is a 50 ml and this is a Roja perfume, so you know it's pretty pricey. So I just try to like be careful with how much I spray, but this is incredible. And for those of you who are into the guava note, if you are seriously into the note of guava, this is a fragrance that you definitely want to sniff. You know, originally it was a fam member, and I'm not going to say names, but it was a gent within the fam that highly recommended that I get my nose on this fragrance because he told me that that guava note was done totally different than any of my other guava fragrances. And boy, was he right. So if you're watching, thank you so much for putting me onto this fragrance because it is incredible. Absolutely love it, and I can't stop wearing it. Okay, so the next fragrance that I have for you is a 2025 release, and this was a fragrance. This is a designer fragrance, and it was released like towards the beginning of the spring, like in preparation for spring, and I picked it up immediately, and it was an immediate love for me, and nothing has changed. This is the fragrance that I pull when I want a real floral, you know, because Printemps Blanc is about floral, but there is a gourmand quality to Printemps Blanc, you know, from Maison Mataha. There's something about that fragrance, but this one to me is like a real just floral fragrance. There is a bit of woodiness here. There is some patchouli. It is a musk-based fragrance, and I am speaking about Bulgari, and this is Insieme. And I'm sure that you remember when I picked up this fragrance because I have talked over and over and over about this fragrance. You guys know that when I get obsessed or when I get hooked on a specific fragrance, it's like there's no ending hearing a Rahi talk about the same fragrance. Well, that is the case with this one because this is absolutely beautiful. So the floral here, the dominant floral here is definitely the peony, and it's interesting because the juice is giving us that. But when I tell you, this is so beautiful. And even though they haven't necessarily disclosed it, I am clearly picking up on a little bit of spiciness. I don't know where, you know, where it's coming from. I can't tell you what the spicy note is, but there is a little bit of spiciness here. This truly, in my opinion, is perfect for the spring season. It'll definitely get you through the summer on a very hot day. If you want that floral scent, if you're into a floral, this is the fragrance that you want to have. But this is definitely not a fragrance for like the fall or the winter. No, to me, this is exclusively perfection, spring, use spring and summer. But let us know, because I know many of you have picked up this fragrance at this point. Let us know your thoughts. What has been your experience with it? Are you loving it? Are you enjoying the florals and the woodiness and that patchouli that has been done very smooth? Are you enjoying the muskiness of it? Are you pulling it during the summer, or did you just keep it in the spring? Anyway, moving on. All right, so this next fragrance is a Middle Eastern fragrance. And if you've been with me, maybe starting in spring of 2025, maybe you're new to the fam, I am sure this is not going to come as a surprise because I have featured this fragrance in so many Middle Eastern Thursday videos because I absolutely love it. And it was a love, a true love at first sniff. And I am speaking about Paris Corner Indomitable. And as always, I'm going to share this beautiful bottle with you. And for those of you that picked up Indomitable, now Indomitable has had a chance to sit in my collection. Maybe it's even sat in yours. And I have to tell you, this is, again, I'm going to repeat it again, a highly addictive fragrance. So I have talked about it from different standpoints. I've told you about the fact that What I love about the fragrance is that while it's not a full-on freshie, it actually is. It's not supposed to be a full-on freshie. It's supposed to be more citrusy, but on my skin, it very much becomes a freshie, but it performs beautifully. And now that it's had a chance to sit, the performance is even better. Here you find some orange, some clementine. In the spicy notes, I pick up clearly on the black pepper, but there's more in here. I just don't know what else, but definitely the black pepper. It has a little bit of vanilla that has not been disclosed, but I do get vanilla. It's a very ambery fragrance, but it is musk based. The musk here, now that it's had a chance to sit, is more like a level 3, but not animalic in any kind of way. To me, this is happy, happy, joy, joy, summer season scent. It is happy summer in a bottle. This is a fragrance that when you sniff it, it will add a pep to your step. I have told you that time and time again. There is something very cheery, very happy about this fragrance. I tell you, as soon as I sniff it, it does alter my mood. So on those days where I'm just like, oh, it's just so hot and I just don't even want to go out there, this is the fragrance that I like to pull. And to layer with it is just incredible. You can get really, really creative with this one with no fear because you can layer it with just about anything. Again, Indomitable is a love and one that I cannot stop using. I do have a backup bottle and I am so glad that I do because that's probably going to be for next year for during the summer season because this one is about to be done. Anyway, let us know if you picked up Indomitable. Did it work for you? Are you enjoying it? Is it making you feel happy when you wear it? Have you tried it on a very, very hot summer day? Just share with us your thoughts. All right, so this next fragrance, let's have a conversation about this next fragrance. I left it for last because I knew that if I started talking about it, I would never make it through the others because this is, I think, no, this is not the newest because I did cover Desert Rain with you from Day 3 Fragrances, and that one is newer than this one that I'm going to share, but they were launched maybe almost at the same time because this one is brand new. But when I tell you, this is the second serious heavy musk fragrance that I have on this list. And this is from Carolina Herrera. Yes, you already know, Cedar Chic. Look at this beautiful bottle. Absolutely gorgeous bottle. And I hope that you can see it because the lights are pretty high today, but okay. So this is a fragrance that as soon as I tried it on skin, I knew that it was going to be worn more than most of the fragrances that I like to pull during this season from my collection, whether they're new to my collection, whether they've been with me for a year, 2 years, 3 years, etc. There is something about this fragrance that makes it not only addictive, but it changes your mood. It makes you feel like summer, beautiful, flowy. The thing about this fragrance is that while it is perfection for this season, I can see myself pulling it all throughout the year. This is signature scent worthy. This is a fragrance that clearly speaks to elegance and sophistication. Is it dated? No. Can I imagine someone in their early 20s using it? Absolutely. This is just an incredible, when I tell you incredible fragrance. The only condition to this fragrance is that you truly must be into a musk-based fragrance because the musk here is unapologetic. It's not animalic in any kind of way. I'm telling you, it's very smooth. It's incredible, but you're going to pick up on it clearly. It's to the tune of a 4 to a 5, more 5 than 4. And it is not animalic, but it is truly a musk-based fragrance. Here you're going to find a very fresh and citrusy opening where the bergamot is clear. It's very clear that it's bergamot in the opening, but there's other notes that have not been disclosed, but I can tell that it's bergamot. There's also a good bit of aldehydes in this fragrance. I don't know if some of you may be sensitive to that or not, but there's quite a bit of aldehydes here, which I think is what adds that brightness that I just feel in the opening and throughout the wear of the fragrance, because there is an inherent brightness to this perfume for sure. Now, when it comes to the florals, it is clear to me that the orange blossom is at the lead, even though I do pick up on a bouquet of white florals, but definitely the orange blossom is the star. And then there's a bit of woodiness, and that woodiness kind of like balances out the fragrance. To me, this fragrance is all about the exquisite blend, but the musk is at the helm. This is truly for those who enjoy and love a good, beautiful, elegant, smooth, sophisticated musk scent that will carry you through just about any occasion, day or night. Let us know if you've tried this fragrance and your thoughts, because I am just curious as to how many other fam members have fallen in love. If you've tried it, have you fallen in love with it, and why? All right, fam, so we've reached the end of this video, and I hope that this was enjoyable for you. I just wanted to share with you my most used fragrances right now. Now, keep in mind that I'm always picking up fragrances, always testing. So my most used fragrances really do rotate quite frequently, but it just seems to be that for every season, I may have like 4, 5, 6 fragrances that are permanent in that rotation, and then a couple of others that I switch depending on if there's another one that comes in that really just debunks the love that I had for the other. Even though I do love the other one, there may be one that I prefer to use more at a specific time. And I'm sure that that happens to everybody. But all in all, these are the fragrances that I have been using the most and that I cannot get enough of. And some of them are already lifers in my collection, and I'm pretty sure that a couple of them will make it to that. Anyway, just let us know if you've tried any of these fragrances and your thoughts. As always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.